This is a reminder just to update all your beneficiaries on all of your accounts out there, anything you can think of. I go through this often with clients too. We're constantly catching stuff that it's either started a new 401k and a new job at work and there's no beneficiary attached to it yet too. This is something that's out of my sight sometimes too, even as the advisor or the planner too, because it's through a separate employer plan. You may have multiple bank accounts, you may have et cetera, et cetera. Get beneficiaries on those things, at least one, at least your primary, even if you don't care about anything out there in the world. I mean, you can add a thing to it if you want to as well. A thing could be a church, you know, your alma mater, your school, you want a building named after you, etc. So there's not even a single person in the world that you like, add a thing as your beneficiary too as well. There's add your dog, add your pets, whatever. Just have something on there. The reason you want to have a beneficiary on there, honestly, for the most part, is not only to ease this for whoever's dealing with all your stuff afterwards or your estate, but it's to reduce the cost of it too. Hell, you've worked hard for your money. You have a lot of assets. If you don't have beneficiaries on file for these things, or you don't have a trust established, if you have complexity, then you're looking at probate, which is essentially a circuit court of most states, really, and they're going to pretty much go through all your stuff, and the court's going to decide what goes where. It's a clear path if you have children. Or a spouse, essentially, if you're married. It's not so clear if you don't. Usually, it's next of kin in some way, shape, or form. But guess what? It costs money. So what they'll do is they'll pull from your estate totals, all your assets. They'll pull the probate costs to cover it, court costs, etc., etc. It always depends, but it's somewhere between like 3 to 7% of your total estate, really. So if you got a couple $100,000 and you have no beneficiaries attached to it at all in any shape or form, you know, you're just paying the state more money, essentially, a form of tax, really, when honestly it takes like a minute to log into your account, add your freaking beneficiary. So please do that. It'll save so much time for someone out there in the world. It'll save you money too, and your hard-earned assets. So next reason you want to have that as well too, outside of all the money, is time. Probate court sometimes will take a few months, but honestly, usually it's like 6 months to 12 months, sometimes longer, depending on the schedule of the courts. So why you would want to subject all your stuff to that? Not that fun. So please get a beneficiary on your account. This is a friendly reminder. You do not need a trust, honestly, in most case scenarios, unless you have a really complex situation with your assets and you maybe have some infighting you're worried about. So for example, you have multiple kids and no one gets along. You might want to establish some form of trust and talk to an estate planning attorney at that point. If you have a pretty simple scenario, like one child essentially, or even two, if they get along, 50-50 that stuff. 2 primary beneficiaries, done deal. Bonus points if you had a contingent beneficiary, just in case something happened to you and the primary. So if a husband and wife are driving together, something happens, and you know, you only have a primary beneficiary as your spouse, something happened to both at the same time, that probably still subjects things to probate because your spouse passed with you, unfortunately. So get a primary on there for sure. Add a contingent. Check it often. Check it always. This is, again, your life insurance, your bank accounts. You can add that on. You can add a TOD to some assets too, which means transfer on debt. So this can be bank accounts. This can be real estate. This can be all these assets. But really get something on there, some way, shape, or form. Or find professionals to work with who will nag you and remind you like I will. Thanks so much, guys. My name is Justin Hodges. Hope that helps.